Hey everyone, Diavolo here, and welcome back to the spoilers that have just dropped for chapter 241 of Tokyo Revengers. If you guys are new around here and want to keep up to date with the latest spoilers for not only Tokyo Revengers, but also Jujutsu Kaisen, then make sure you hit that subscribe button and also be sure to leave a like on the video, as it really helps out with that algorithm and pushes my stuff to a bunch of new amazing people. But anyway, enough of that, let's quickly get into these spoilers. So starting off this week, we don't actually have a lot of information given to us, but what we do have here is kind of like a culmination of a bunch of different panels all stored into one, kind of centering around Takomi and Shinichiro here, both kind of hanging out together in what looks like possibly even, the D&D Motors store before Shinichiro took it over and turned it into that place, or even possibly just an apartment that they both lived in together at some point. But from the looks of it, it looks like they're both getting some news from someone in particular, and it doesn't really we don't have any information on this specific panel here. We have a little bit more stuff from what happens throughout the later side of the chapter, I'm imagining, as said through Senju most likely, as she's continuing on her explanation of things that have happened. So we have something Shinichiro was saying here as well, but we have no translation from that specific part of this, culmination of panels here, along with whatever is being said to them in the surprised look from Takomi there. Also, something that I wanna notice down the bottom of these four pictures all put together is the other surprised one of Takomi kind of looking like what's going on and him saying something above his head that we can't fully see. To the right of it, we can see someone kind of wearing what looks like either the normal t-shirt that Senju was wearing in the last chapter in her flashback, or something that Mikey would have worn in the past. So it could possibly either be one of the two, or it could even be Baji or Harachiro standing there. But I would assume that it's probably either Senju standing there and telling them something, or it's Mikey, telling them all something there with Senju, hearing in. And then on the last one of the four pictures here, we also have someone kind of flying over the top of Takomi and Shinichiro just chilling, not even taking notice of it. I'm assuming that person is probably Senju as well, as this chapter is most likely going to revolve around her, and it looks like that person's wearing shorts, and I know she was in the last chapter. Obviously it could be any of them in this flashback because we don't actually see who it is, and it's probably purposely hiding that for a reason, I could imagine. But moving on to what we have for the second lot of information given to us for this week. So here is probably the most hectic obviously side of the entire chapter, and it shows us actually how Harachiro or Sanzu ended up getting these scars that he has on his face. And I thought this was Izana at first actually, but obviously Izana didn't really play a part in the story at this point. And it says to us here, or it's kind of been translated for us here through the spoiler person, that there was Harachiro with his mouth torn, Keisuke fell down, and Mikey with his hands stained with blood. Everyone has changed since that day. Mikey, Baji, and Harachiro. Everyone changed because of me. Obviously they're referring to Senju when it comes to, obviously that person who's talking in the, third point of view is referring to herself or Senju. And that's just for the fact that, this is her flashback obviously. And you can see her there standing in the background while Mikey kind of stands over a Sanzu bleeding profusely from his face on the ground. And Mikey, we get another speech line here, or a quote line here, and Mikey pretty much just says to Harachiro, laugh, and tells him to laugh. And then in response, firstly before Harachiro actually responds, you can see the dark impulse first start to kind of grow on Mikey in that pattern that we've seen before from when he gets extremely, brutal and angry kind of behind him. So I'm guessing this is the first time that his dark impulses ever took over. And there below we can see laughing probably. I'm assuming this has something to do with Senju and her saying something, and Harachiro not taking it in a specific way, and then Mikey getting annoyed possibly because he likes Senju, or I have no idea how it could work exactly, but that's kind of first what's coming to mind. I would like for Mikey and Senju to kind of get together so they can be the other side to the Hina Takamichi relationship and the Emma and Draken, you know what I mean? And all three of the boys have kind of got their girls, you know what I mean? But who knows honestly what can happen at the end of the day here. This is massive, the fact that we know now that Mikey was actually the person that dealt these wounds to Harachiro here. And something else that the spoiler account did give to us here, which I think is still, worth stating and quite interesting, is that it was all really unexpected for that person and made it quite confused. They're referring to obviously the chapter here when they read through it, because they are in Japan and have seen the initial part of the chapter. Harachiro was actually a good boy and he didn't do anything wrong, but because of small things, everything fell apart. I'll tell the details on Tuesday, obviously referring to when the chapter drops, or at midnight when the chapter drops over in Japan, and they'll drop an instant translation of pretty much, you know, what's going on. But that's super interesting that Sanzu really hasn't done anything wrong, and I kind of feel bad for him in a way here. He's probably following Mikey because of this point in his life. In all, you know, honesty, or probably even before this point, he's been following Mikey around. Super interesting though, the bunch of spoilers that were given to us this week, and it looks like the chapter is actually picking up with some kind of heat here. I hope it gets back to the action soon, because it has been a little bit dry over the last few weeks with Takemichi kind of rebuilding his gang. I was kind of hoping for a little bit more, not action with it, but just more hype behind it. I haven't found the last few chapters too, you know, like exciting in comparison to what was going on beforehand, obviously, because it went from complete and utter action with Takemichi getting his head pounded into, you know, him trying to reformulate a gang, and them kind of acting childish with the gang that he's trying to reformulate in a way, or at least that's how I felt about it at the time. But things are, you know, going back to the way how Tokyo Revengers were before, and that is what matters to me, at least. I hope Ken Waikui ends this on a really, really good note, and I imagine that he probably will. But anyway, obviously, if you guys have enjoyed the video and want to keep up to date with the latest Tokyo Revengers spoilers, then do make sure you hit that subscribe button, and also be sure to leave a like on the video, as it really helps out with that algorithm and pushes my stuff to a bunch of new amazing people. Of course, also, be sure to let me know what you think down in the comment section below. But for now, it's been your professional degenerate, Diavolo, and I'll see you all in a bit. Bye.